What is going on, guys? Big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta. Today you're here with Z-Boy, and we are back with you guys with another video, and this time we'll talk about Rising Nova in the Premium. So we started the Bushido Championship Series, the Autumn Fest, so Worlds will be coming up. Worlds this year will be in America, in Los Angeles, which is interesting. It's not in Japan. And with that, we kicked off the first shop challenge for V Premium that I could attend in the Netherlands. It was in Arnhem, in Gamers Paradise, the shop, and we had 9 people playing, which is good for in the Netherlands for a smaller city, smaller country. And we actually had lots of our best players. We had Chris, which is another world finalist. We have Robin, which is of course our teammate and the V champion with Sven, and of course JJ. And we had Sparkles, we had Dave, we had Jeroen, we had so many good people, so many good players that attend. Also Mr. Tiny, Eric himself was also there, and we had 9 people. We played only 3 rounds of Swiss because the shop owner is a big fan of best of 3s. He thinks it's luck based if you only play a best of 1. So he would rather give a tournament with less rounds of Swiss but with a best of 3, so you have an easier, clear winner. With that, I was able to go 3-0, so 3-0, and then we played the top 4. There's of course no reason to play a top 8 because we had only 9 people. So a top 4, and with the top 4 I was able to win the first and the second match, the finals. So I was able to win the tournament undefeated, which is amazing with the Rising. We'll go into the matchups as well before we get into the deck. If you don't want to hear that, you could just skip right through that and go to the deck. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and of course comments. And yeah, you could pause the video right here to get something to drink, something to eat, because this will be a long video. It will be parted videos, so you will see some of them will be updated today and the others will be updated later. Reasons is that otherwise it's too long. So for the rest of the video, the rounds of Swiss. First I had to play Robin. Robin was playing the new Narukami deck, which is amazing. You get the chance to play Descendant, and copying the skill makes it even more crazy. So it's a very good deck. It's a good matchup for him. But for me it's okay too, because I have some field removals, and this deck hits hard and hits fast, so sometimes they don't even get the chance to go to their second right turn. But he played really good and made it hard for me to go through that. Second game I had to play against Sparkles. Sparkles was playing Angeeee. He was very unlucky to get his right targets, to even get to ride. He had to GSS multiple times, so that wasn't even a fair game. But yeah, best of 3 again, and I was able to win. And then the last round of Swiss I had to play Dave. Dave was playing his signature clan, as same as Sparkles, Bermuda, of course, Angeeee. And Dave played Steam Maidens, so that's pretty cool. It's a very good deck, especially with the new support, very consistent. And yeah, I was able to win that game as well, or game in a match. And then we went into the tops. In the tops, first playing against Golds, was alright. Again, Spike was just a little bit too fast for some decks, and he played Bluish, which is kind of cool, Liberators. And with that, I was able to play the finals. The finals was against Dave again, so that was kind of interesting because he could have got his revenge, or I could have played the undefeated tournament. With that, yeah, the both games were actually, or all 3 games were actually pretty cool. And yeah, I was able to get the win. So yeah, that was actually it for the tournament. Again, an amazing deck, hits very cool, hits very hard, it's very strong, it's very fast. And now we will just go through the deck and explain it. So first we'll go fast through the deck, then we'll come back and explain the cards. And also I will be telling you a little bit about I would say the strength of the deck, or what could you change about the deck. Alright, so for the deck, we have the grade 3s first. So you play, of course, the 4 copies of Rising Nova. Then we add in 3 Bull Spike, 2 Spiking Cyclone, come here Juggernaut, 2 Spiking Cyclone, 2 Maximum, and 1 Maximum. So that's it for the grade 3 lineup. Next we have the grade 2s, very simple. 4 copies of Rona, 4 copies of Agile Fallback, 2 copies of Fiona, and 1 copy of Gun Linebacker. Alright, then we have the grade 1s. Grade 1s, again, also very simple. The 4 copies of Acrobat Verdi, adding into it the 4 copies of Ambush Dexter, and then only 2 copies of William. So playing only 10 grade 1s. And then for the trigger lineup, we play my signature 8 draws, 4 crits, and 4 heals. That's pretty much it. Of course, for the starter, you could play whatever you like. I play the Running Sniper, I love the art more, and it's an SP. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the deck. Explaining a little bit about the deck, sure, why not? Let's go into it, starting with the grade 3s. And also, at the same time, we will talk about other options that you can have in your deck. Alright, so for the grade 3 lineup, we start with Exceptional Expertise Rising Nova. Pretty much the best grade 3 in the whole game. Well, you could argue with me, but you will never win this because he pretty much could copy anything. Right, we start with the first ability. The first ability is a continuous ability. Whenever you ride into him, you don't have to choose Force 1 or Force 2. You basically get Force 1 and Force 2. Which means that the moment you ride into something different than a Nova, then you would have to choose, which makes the deck very flexible, because at that moment it's up to you to get Force 1 and Force 2. And in different situations, sometimes the second Force 2 could be better, but in the most situations you will get the Force 1 because you could move the markers around. Right, then his second ability, which is the ability that makes him the best grade 3 in the game. For a Soul Blast of 1, you target 2 grade 3s from your field and he gains their ability, which means that this boy pretty much could become whatever you want him to become. And this card is timeless. This card is timeless. The clan will get stronger and stronger grade 3s, and this card will become better and better and better and better. Alright, now we get into the next card that we have, which is the 3 copies of Dead Heat Bull Spike. Bull Spike has 2 abilities. The first one, for a Soul Blast of 1, you could move the markers around to anything that attacks. The second ability is once per turn only. When an attack does not hit that has a marker beneath it, you could retire 1 card from your opponent and draw a card. Even if you could not retire, you still draw a card. You play only 3 because we have to make room for the other good grade 3s that we have in our deck. The card is amazing, and I would rather play it at 4, but I just don't have space. So for now, 3 would have to do. Then we get the Spiking Cyclone. Some people would like to play Siegfried, some people play Cyclone. For me, Cyclone is more effective as he's easier to get off. You always get the 3 stand, you get the power from having the markers, which is really good. So his ability is, first one is a continuous ability on Vanguard, of course. During your turn, this unit gets plus 5k for each force marker you have. So with Rising, you create lots of markers. So this boy will give Rising, if Rising copies him, lots and lots of power, which is really good, especially on your second right turn. Then the second ability is when he attacks, you count plus 1 and you restand something, which is the ability that makes maximum even better. Alright, so Then we add in the maximum. Only one copy of him because this deck doesn't really run around him. You have to have the right setup for him to be effective. So he acts as another copy of Cyclone, or sometimes he even acts as another copy of Spike, which makes it a very, very, very flexible card, but a situational card that you don't always want to use because it's a double-edged sword. But this situation will explain later what makes this card really, really good. The first part of the ability you will not really use, especially if you're copying it with the Rising, which is at the beginning of each main phase, so yours and your opponent. If your opponent is a grade 3 or greater until the end of turn, continuous ability this unit gets, which is all of your units that are placed this turn get plus 5k shield and 5k power, which means that whenever you intercept with something or place, which is pretty much you guard from your hand, or during your turn that you place units on the field, they just gain more power. But this ability is at the beginning of your main phase, so if you use Rising to target his ability, you will not get that because you have never been to the beginning of your main phase. The second part of the ability is the ability that you use the most, which is a Vanguard ability. Once per turn, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked. If you have called 4 or more units, placed 4 or more units this turn, you may Soul Blast 3 to restand a column. If you restand the middle column, which is your Vanguard, pretty much if you restand this unit, it said, then you will lose a drive check. And also, at the end of your turn, you return all of your Vanguards to the bottom of your deck. As I said, it's a double-edged sword. And then we finish the grade 3 lineup with the 2 copies of Juggernaut Maximum. It's an amazing card, especially in the early game. It becomes a powerhouse. It could hit above triggers, but also it's the powerhouse that you need with the maximum. For this lineup, the only thing that I would change is taking out the Juggernaut Maximum and putting in a Skydiver. The difference between the two is actually very, very, very simple. The Juggernaut Maximum is effective in the early game more. Why? Because you don't really have normal units that you want to put into the bottom of your deck, which means that the Skydiver will become less strong. Remember that Skydiver skill set, when placed, Vanguard or Vanguard, choose 2 normal units, which means that if you drop your draw triggers with like Acrobat Verdi or Dexter, you could not put them back. If that would have been the case, then this card would have been way, way better because it would recycle triggers. But it could not, which means that you will have to drop some normal units, maybe some of your grade 3s that you could put back to your deck, and then he will gain only 5k, which makes him 18, which is still good, but maximum in the early game is better. Skydiver better in the late game because he will be recycling your 1 copy of maximum, he will recycle your Cyclones, he will recycle your fullbacks, and lots of cards that you want to have back on your deck. So that's the difference. Depending on how the format is, do you want the deck to be very fast and doing lots and lots of damage in the early game to your opponent, or do you want it to chill back? If you want it to chill back and you focus more on the big combo, then this card will be more effective. But again, pretty much up to you to change it the way you like. But that's the only thing that I would change about the grade 3 lineup. Alright, now we go into the grade 2 lineup. The grade 2 lineup is actually very, very interesting, as in you have some tech cards, but you also have some important cards. One of the important cards is of course Rona, and of course the Agile fullback. You want to play 4 at 4. Rona's ability is pretty simple. Just when this unit is placed, you count +1, you search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 and you call it to Vanguard Circle. That's pretty much it. If this unit is in the same column as a grade 3, that's the second ability, it's a Vanguard ability, this unit could boost, which makes this card way better than a Ronaldo because it doesn't become a dead card on the field. You have Agile fullback on the other hand, which has the ability that if this unit is placed this turn on your back row Vanguard circle, the center back row Vanguard circle, then this unit could attack from the back row. If this unit was superior called, it gained plus 10k. At the beginning of your main phase, this unit goes into your soul and you get a new one out of your deck, which means that you could place him each time, gaining more power and becoming a huge beatstick. And again, with the combo with maximum, you could have him as an extra attacker, which we'll talk later about. Right, so that's it for these two. Now we add in some tech cards. The tech cards that we have in is Linebacker. The tech cards that we have in are Fiona's. Fiona, Linebacker, you have multiple cards that you could add to your deck. You could add shield value, you could add Sprout, which could take out Interceptors and give you more soul. You could do multiple things, but I find Linebacker more effective as he gives you an extra attack, especially if you will be riding into your Bull Spike. So you move the markers, you don't really use that much counterblast, and sometimes you even have the soul left for his ability, which is really good. Even with the uses of your maximum, you don't really use that much counterblasts except if you combine him with the Cyclone, then you do. Fiona is a card that I expected myself to only play in Premium, but with how the format is shaping right now for the Premium, she is good as well. Right, Linebacker skill. If you have a grade 3 in the same column as this unit could attack and intercept from the back row. Then when this unit attacks, Counterblast, Soul Blast 1, and this unit gain plus 5k for each marker you have until the end of battle. So that's amazing because this boy could become a huge powerhouse. But basically it's because of his first ability. Him gaining that ability to have to intercept an attack from the back row is already good. Fiona. Fiona's ability is very interesting. When this unit is placed on Vanguard or put on Guardian Circle. Very important the word put, because it means even if she intercepts, you do gain that ability, which is Soul Blast 1. Choose one of your any player's Vanguards, and until the end of turn, that unit gain an extra 10k, and the costs for its auto ability could not be paid, which means you could use this for your own advantage to give one of your units extra power and restand it or attack with it. But you could also use this on your opponent's units if your opponent has some extra attack extenders or some abilities that you don't want them to use. You gave them the 10k and then pretty much with that you stop them. So yeah, a very good ability, and that's the reason why she's in there. Alright, so that's it for the grade 2s. Now we get into the grade 1s. For the grade 1s, we will always play the 4 Verdi and we will always play the 4 Dexters. Verdi, very simple, your grade 3 searcher, pretty much his continuous ability. If you have Superior Cold this turn, then you gain the extra 5k. The second ability is when this unit is placed, Vanguard Dragard, you check it out of 5, and you put one grade 3 into your hand and you discard a card, shuffle your deck, blah. The good thing about his ability is that he also could search your heal triggers as they are grade 3s. Very important that this unit's ability only works if he's placed from hand. Some people mistake that sometimes. In this deck you don't really Superior Call him, but hey. Dexter. Ambush Dexter is the card that puts most work in the whole deck next to Rising. Dexter is very effective. Riding into him, you could discard a card and draw a card, which means discarding your, if you have too much grade 3s in hands, if you play Skydiver, then this would work. Discarding your draw triggers, drawing into something different, discarding a quick shield, drawing into something different is always good. But it's all about his second ability, which is on place, Counterblast 1, put a grade 2 or greater from your regards into your soul, search your deck up to 2 cards, whatever cards, as long as they are the same grade as the card you have put into your soul for the cost, and you call them to Vanguard Circle. It doesn't even say separate Vanguard Circles, and shuffle your deck. So yeah, insane. It's an insanely good card. And last but not least, we play the 2 Jokers. In this case, are Williams. Why do I say Joker? It's because it's a card that you could take out to play whatever you like. Dudley William is a good card, but it's not very necessary. At the end of the battle that this unit boosts, you could put this unit into your soul to move the markers to another unit. And then his second ability is when rolled upon, you could call this to a Vanguard circle. So pretty much you get a +1 in the early game and you lose 1 on soul. But because later on he goes into your soul, he's kind of a +2 soul, because then you don't have to soul blast something for bull spike ability. So it's a very effective card. And sometimes you're low on soul and this boy could actually do a lot. And using him with maximum and spiking Cyclone is also very effective, because on that turn you could not move the markers and you could use him on the last attack, and with that you could move all the markers to the last unit. And yeah, that's insanely good, which I will show you later how good this card could be. You could take him out to play whatever you like if you want to add different great ones. One of the new great ones is Reckless Express. It's a good card, you could play it, but I just don't like it with the maximum build. But if I don't play maximum, I would play this card. He has the ability that when he's placed on Vanguard circle, his cost will be a Soul Blast instead of a Counter Blast. And the skill is look at the top 7 cards of your deck and you could choose one normal unit from among them and you could call it to a Vanguard circle as rest. So which means that the next turn it will stand, or you could choose Ambush Texture to make something out of it, or it's a grade 3 that you want to target with Rising or whatever. But pretty much he could give you a good card for pretty much next turn, especially when you ride into him. So that's what makes this card really good. But in the early game, losing that soul sometimes does hurt later on in the game. So that's the reason why I don't really like him. And the Counter Blast, I mean, you could use that with Ambush Texture, which is way more effective, or you use it with Rona, which is also way more effective, because at least what you get out of Rona could attack, and with him, they could not. And also with Rona, you choose the right card that you want to call. So yeah, there are of course other options to go for the great ones, but for now, I do like William the most, especially in this build. For the trigger lineup, yeah, the heal triggers, I think self-explanatory. Pretty much if you put this on the Guardian Circle, you have the ability to choose one of the 2 skills if your opponent is at if you are not at grade 3. So yeah, the thing is, this card makes a huge difference, especially in the current meta, especially if you go second, because the turn that your opponent hits grade 3 or sometimes even grade 2, this card could actually, yeah, save your ass, pretty much that. Beautiful art, nice flavor text, and of course a beautiful name. Alright, then we have the only 4 crits that I play. Silent Joker, pretty much the big boy himself. Played this boy from the first start of the game and still playing him, so yeah, he will stay there. Then Pauline, another card that I played the day she came out, and the same goes for Merlin. This is my signature 8 draw. If you want to build the deck, I will advise you to play 6 on 6. But for me, definitely the 8 draws work way better, but it's just my playstyle. It is just my playstyle, taking damage playstyle. Alright, it will be it for this video. We'll not jump into the combo. I will do the combo in the next part of the video. If you guys are interested to seeing something different, let me know. But yeah, we are starting this season with an amazing unbeaten streak. So let's keep it at that. And let's see which tournaments we will try to enter. And let's try to represent Spike at Worlds again and again. Worlds for me will be kind of interesting because there are lots and lots happening in my private life, as having a new home, a new relationship, and with that I actually don't really have the or I would say Worlds will happen at the wrong timing for me. So we will see. We will see what will happen. But again, if I get qualified, I will have to think very hard about attending or not. But for now, we will say we will go. Alright guys, thank you again for watching. Thank you for tuning in our channel. If you guys are interested, as I said, to see more, or if you guys have questions, let us know in the comment section below, and we'll be more than happy to answer you and help you out. If you want to approach me personally, you know that you could approach me on Facebook. I'm very easy to find, as I'm the only guy with that name in the whole world. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Until next time.